What is up, Bills Mafia? It is game day. It is finally here. I'm Ryan Talbot, joined as always by host Matt Parrino, and we are Shout, the Buffalo Football Podcast, brought to you by Tops Friendly Markets, your neighborhood store with more. As you can see here, Matt is on location. Matt, what are your initial impressions going into today's game?
I threw a curveball to you today, Ryan. I said, hey, I'm going to be on location. I want you to host this thing for us today. And you knocked it out of the park. I appreciate it. Yes, live from Kansas City, the Shout Buffalo Bills Football Podcast on your screen, brought to you by Top Friendly Markets. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube right now, smash that subscribe button because we're so excited for our first live on the scene podcast of the season. It's been quite a couple days here, 24 hours since I landed. I drove around a little bit last night. I haven't been going in any places, but you could see the dissension of Bills Mafia upon Kansas City. I posted a story a few minutes ago that it's looking like close to maybe 4,000 people, Bills fans, are going to be at this game today. And a Chiefs reporter was telling my co-host on the Channel 4 morning show, pregame show, that 4,000 or so is about the usual visiting amount of fans at a home game for the Chiefs when it's full capacity. So we could be looking at 17,000 fans in there today, maybe 4,000 or so of them Bills fans, and that could have a huge impact on this game because we were talking to Josh Allen this week about it, Ryan, and he said, yeah, 17,000 fans we haven't played with in front of that many all year. It could be quite a scene. There could be a lot of Bills Mafia trying to make it loud for when Pat Mahomes has the ball.
Yeah, it's no surprise that the Bills Mafia is traveling well for this game. You know, we saw some videos of some fans at the airport getting their luggage, playing the Shout song and all singing. I've seen some footage in air with fans singing the Shout song. Our friend Joe B said that the pilot said it was the Buffalo Bills Express on his flight. So you get an idea that they are traveling extremely well for this game. But let's get into this a little bit, Matt, because just a few minutes ago, about 30 minutes ago, Chris Mortensen of ESPN said it's looking very iffy for Gabriel Davis to play today and that Kenny Stills has been practicing in Davis's spot all week. What are your thoughts on that going into this game, considering the major contributions that Davis has made as a rookie?
Yeah, and this is what we were kind of starting to eye as the week progressed and Gabriel Davis wasn't able to go. And I'm not surprised because, listen, I said it on all the shows this week. If Gabriel Davis isn't close enough to 100% to where you feel comfortable throwing him out there, it's better to go with a proven commodity in Kenny Stills, even though he's only been in the building for a few weeks, because he has a familiarity with the Kansas City defense. He played him last year in the playoffs when he was with the Houston Texans. 3 grabs, 80 yards, and a touchdown. We covered that on the podcast this week. So I think you could throw him in there for a percentage of the snaps. I still think it's going to come down, Ryan, to these 3 wide receivers, the big 3, if you will, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and John Brown. I love John Brown in this matchup. Go back and watch in week 6, and it's important to go back and watch week 6. I know there was guys missing, and you can't take too much from what happened then, but what I do think you can kind of extract from it is the guys that weren't able to make an impact that are now going to be here today that I think can, and that's John Brown in a big way. All eyes are going to be on Stephon Diggs. John Brown didn't have a huge game week 1 or wild card week against the Colts. Had a couple big grabs last week, a couple toe drag grabs. But he's getting himself comfortable and worked back into the offense. But I think somebody's going to step up on this offense that I think people aren't really expecting. You know, Stephon Diggs has carried the load all season. Cole Beasley, second team All-Pro. This has the kind of feel, if this offense is going to really have it going, a guy like Dawson Knox, a guy like Devin Singletary, guys that at different times this year have been kind of pariahs. I can see them having their big moment in a game like this.
Yeah, those are the major players that I'd be keeping an eye on as well. But just going back real quick to Kenny Stills, I did have some Bills fans after I tweeted that out say, why not Duke Williams? He's been in the system longer. He provides that size that Gabriel Davis has. Well, you know, I think it comes down to speed too, and I think that Kenny Stills has that impressive speed, and you can stretch the field with Stills, with John Brown. Then the Chiefs have to still worry about Stephon Diggs, who, no matter what teams have been doing to him, he's been getting open and contributing. And then you have Cole Beasley, another week removed from his injury, so he should be a little bit healthier. He's going to be a major factor in the slot. So I agree it's going to be those top three wide receivers that could factor into this game. But, keep an eye on Stills. He might have a big player too, in this matchup as well. The other storyline, Matt, is Patrick Mahomes and the turf toe. It seemed like all week everyone was talking about the concussion, the protocol, and they weren't really talking enough about that turf toe, which was hampering his play before he went down with that injury in the Browns game. So, what do you think the Bills should be doing here in terms of attacking Mahomes to test that foot early in this game?
So I just was listening as I was pulling into the stadium here. I was listening to a quick hit from Jay Glazer where he reported that there's going to be a little bit of something put a pad or a cushion put into the cleat of Patrick Mahomes to help him deal with the pain from that injury, which makes me kind of think, man, I think this might be a bigger factor than even we anticipated, because Pat came out on Friday, said that it's been getting better day by day by day. But if it is a turf toe situation and it's something that's going to pop back up, creep back up, because he's not running down the field. I mean, he's not looking to really attack with his legs a la Lamar Jackson, but he does use his legs to get mobile and get out of the pocket and force defensive linemen to have to chase him around back there while he finds his targets. And Jerry Hughes, I thought, made it clear when we talked to him on Thursday. He basically said, we have to get to him and hit him as soon as possible. And I think that's a big piece of this game from all levels. I'm interested to see what kind of game plan Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott dial up against Mahomes in this offense. They were very passive. They sat back in the first matchup. Obviously, we know they were able to run the ball quite a bit. In this matchup, I think that Milano is a guy that's playing so well. I know he's going to be matched up against Travis Kelce a good chunk in this game, but he blitzed 13 times last week against Lamar Jackson, and the Bills did a great job in containment. And in a lot of ways, when you're trying to contain a quarterback, a lot of the same principles are still in play here. You're not worried about Patrick Mahomes as much as Lamar as a runner, but you do have to keep him in containment, because once he gets out of that pocket, foot or no foot, that's when it gets really dangerous.
Yeah, I think attacking Patrick Mahomes early to test him, to see how that foot injury is and how painful it is for him, I think that is really important. He's a lot like Josh Allen, where scrambling out of the pocket and making plays outside of there has been a big part of his success throughout all of his career. So maybe if he is hampered in any way, shape, or form, we're going to talk a little bit more about this matchup. But first, let's get a word from our sponsor.
Ready for football? Tops is with ready-to-serve fan favorites everyone will cheer for. Delicious family or party packs like pizza, sliders, fried chicken, barbecue, or beef on weck. Starting at only $4 per serving. Perfect for game day and any day. Only at Tops.
Ryan Talbot in the control room. Just absolutely killing it producing this show today, my man. I'm proud of you.
Hey, thank you. And I was just about to say, last night, or actually early this morning, I think, you put out some players to watch in today's matchup. How about you tell us about one or two players, maybe on defense, because you already mentioned some X factors on offense, that you could see playing a big role in the outcome of today's game?
I'm really zeroed in on Ed Oliver in this game because for a few reasons. Number one, they need that interior pressure. Like, I think we know what we're going to get out of Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison to play most of the snaps on the edge. Where I feel like the Bills can really take advantage of some matchups is on the interior, and that starts with Ed Oliver. He has to be aggressive. He has to be the chaos-causing force they drafted him to be. I know he's only in his second year, and I know the future – even if you've been underwhelmed with Ed Oliver's performance this year, and I don't think he's been great all year long, I think the future is still very bright for him. But he has already proven, even back in his rookie season, that he can show up on the big stage. He has some really good matchups on the interior. Guard Andrew Wiley is probably the worst offensive lineman, and that's a matchup that I feel like they can take advantage of. And Ed Oliver has to be a guy that makes things difficult on Patrick Mahomes. If there's some issues with the foot, getting that push from middle. Sean McDermott has talked about it so much over the years, how much that helps because they have the shortest distance, the interior alignment, to get to the quarterback. So if Ed Oliver can infect Patrick Mahomes today, I was listening to Greg Cosell this week, Ryan. Really respect Greg. Talked to him about Josh in his rookie season a couple years ago. And he was talking about Patrick Mahomes and what's been going on with Kansas City offense the past month or so, because they haven't been as effective. And the big reason why, he said, is Patrick Mahomes has just not been playing as efficiently as Patrick Mahomes has always, been known to play. And part of that is because he takes a lot of chances, even when he's going well. And if you're taking chances and if you're relying on your skills as opposed to, making the smart plays and the smart read, I think defenses can take advantage of that. So if they can hit him, force a couple of turnovers, this game becomes a lot more interesting. I still think it comes down to Josh Allen, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But Ed Oliver, I think, is a big player to watch in the interior.
Yeah, I love that choice. I feel like the defensive tackles as a whole have been playing a lot better over the last month. Vernon Butler, another player who's questionable today, I thought had been playing some of his best football of the season with the Bills. Justin Zimmer continues to flash on that defensive line from the interior. So getting that push in the interior, forcing Patrick Mahomes maybe to drop back on his back foot and throw off of that foot. Little things like that could play a big role. Like you said, he takes chances. All it's going to take is one batted ball, one ball that's a little bit too high, and all of a sudden it could get intercepted and go the other way. And that's exactly what the Bills need in this game. Some other injury updates. According to what's been on ESPN and Fox Sports today, it's looking like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to play for the Chiefs. He had about 145 yards on the ground in the first matchup, but they said he could be on a limited pitch count, so to speak. Sammy Watkins, more of a game-time decision, but they're painting that as more so unlikely to play. So the former Bills first-round pick may not suit up against his former team. But, Matt, you said it. It's all going to come down to Josh Allen. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about, what you want to talk about in regards to Allen in today's game.
I thought that if you take the entire body of work in playoffs so far from Josh Allen, I still think he's searching for that signature performance. He's had a couple signature drives. Like if you go back to the first drive in the third quarter against the Colts, and then obviously the game-winning drive against the Ravens, those are big-time drives on big-time stages against big-time defenses. I think the Kansas City defense, for as good as Steve Spagnuolo is, Chris Jones, we could talk about him. We could talk about Tyrann Mathieu. They have playmakers. They have a great schemer. This is probably not as good of a defense as they faced the first 2 weeks. And so now we're on the biggest stage that Josh Allen and his offense has ever been on. And there's going to be crowd noise, and there's going to be pressure, the likes of which he's never seen before. And I'm very interested to zero in on him specifically, how he handles that, and who he chooses to help him through that. And that's the cool thing about this offense now, Ryan. We've talked about it all year long. This doesn't have to be a one-man show. There's playmakers everywhere you look. And even when you take a look away from some of the top marquee names, there's guys that I think are proven that can make plays. I mean, heck, Lee Smith has made himself a couple plays this year. I like TJ Yeldon in this game. I like if they have to use a two-back system where they get the ball in both of those guys' hands. There's opportunities in the screen game as well. I really think that that's the case. But it comes down to Josh Allen. Can he make the consistent plays throughout the game? They went out and got him Stephon Diggs. They went out and built this entire offense around him. His offensive line is playing phenomenally. John Feliciano is back. The offensive line has been completely different since that's happened. So there are no excuses. But on the other side of the ball, Josh talked a little bit about that this week. They know what they're up against. Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, they're going to be scoring, most likely, unless something happens that we weren't really expecting, like last week when Bill's defense shut down Lamar Jackson. So the pressure's going to be on Josh Allen to consistently win series after series, get points on the board. Good note, though. When the Bills get inside the red zone, the Kansas City Chiefs during the regular season were ranked dead last, 32nd in the league in red zone defense. The Bills have scored 3 touchdowns on 4 chances in the red zone in these playoffs.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to Allen, like you said. This could be a potential shootout, and we need that MVP-type candidate to show up today. We saw some flashes of it last week against the Ravens. He was the best player on the field on Super Wildcard Weekend against the Colts. But we need that type of performance today if we want to see the Bills advance to the Super Bowl. One other little X factor that I'm interested in, and I wonder if he'll play a role in this game, is Isaiah McKenzie. We haven't really seen much out of him in the playoffs, and you almost wonder if maybe that's by plan. You didn't need him, or maybe he wasn't going to be a focal point against the Colts or the Ravens. But Week 17, we saw what he could do as a receiver, as a return man. We've seen all year what he can do on the end around. So using that motion, getting an idea of what the Chiefs defense is doing pre-snap, that alone could play a big factor in this game. So I'm also interested to see what he can do. But Matt, let's get our final thoughts out there. Final thoughts from you.
Left my gloves in the car. My hands are freezing, but it's football weather, and it smells delicious out here. The tailgates are kind of going on behind me a little bit here. It looks like mostly predominantly Chiefs fans, but it smells like football, man. The last couple weeks have been so amazing to finally be back around what we're all so used to. And it's going to be so fun inside that stadium today, seeing a big chunk of Bills Mafia get to celebrate the accomplishment of this team in this season. And that's the big thing, that the biggest takeaway for me about this season is everything here is extra. Everything that the Bills team so far has accomplished, I think, has exceeded expectations, maybe met some expectations. Don't forget, this is a Super Bowl winning team with a Super Bowl MVP in Patrick Mahomes. This is the toughest challenge, toughest game this Bills team will face all season. If they can get it done, oh boy, what a couple weeks we're in store for. And I'm picking them to win. 27-24, Buffalo Bills head on to the Super Bowl. I like the matchup. The weather is perfect, by the way. A little weather update. We were worried about precipitation. There's been almost none. I was out here a couple hours ago for the pregame show on CBS. And so if there's no precipitation, I really think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it might even get up into the 30s. And even in that case, I like the Bills offense.
Yeah, speaking of the 30s, I have the Bills winning this one 34-31. I think we're going to have a very exciting game. But you said it best. Bills fans, you've been waiting a long time for this team to put together a season like this. It's been a long time coming. First AFC Championship game since the 1993 season. So, enjoy it. I'm sure your nerves, your anxiety is up there entering this game. But if they can pull this out and go to the Super Bowl, it'll be the most exciting time in Western New York in many years. But even if something happens that it does not happen, this has been an unbelievably successful season. And this team is clearly on the right track as we head into the future.
I'm going to head in there in a second here, Ryan. And when I do, I'll post a video on my Twitter account. So make sure you're following over there at Matt Parrino of just what the scene is like out here when I make the walk into the stadium.
All right, Bills Mafia. That is host Matt Parrino. I am co-host Ryan Talbot. This has been the Shout Buffalo Football Podcast. Remember, if you are on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. If you listen to us on audio platforms, rate, subscribe, review. We really appreciate your support. Let's see what happens today, and maybe, just maybe tonight, we will definitely be joining you one way or the other, but hopefully we will be talking about the Super Bowl. All right, Bills fans, have a great day.
Ready for football? With every game a home game, Tops is ready for you with its TV a Day giveaway. For 6 weeks, every day you shop is a new chance to win a massive 70-inch 4K TV. Shop Tops for the best deals in town, in-store, or online to win.